All right. Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. You know how this works. You send us some interesting stuff, and we dive deep.
That's right.
So today's topic is one for the ages.
It really is.
Are all religions equal? We've got your document here on religious worldviews, and wow, there's some really fascinating stuff in here.
Yeah, it's a really great document.
So we're going to be talking about things like Sikhism,
Okay.
the Baha'i faith,
Right?
and even how World Religion Day got started.
Interesting.
So to jump right in, this question of whether all religions are equal, it's a tough one.
Yeah. It's a question that's been debated for centuries, and there's really no easy answer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think what's so interesting about this document is that it really highlights how many religions, even though they're so different, seem to be striving for similar things.
Yes. That's a really important point. At their core, many religions are all about seeking truth, seeking connection with something greater than ourselves, and seeking to live a moral life.
Right. And that idea of striving, of actively pursuing these goals, that seems to be a key idea here.
It definitely is.
For example, this document highlights Sikhism, which was founded by Guru Nanak.
Yes, Guru Nanak.
And he really emphasized this idea of constantly working towards equality and harmony. It wasn't just a belief for him. It was an active pursuit.
And that's a key tenet of Sikhism, this idea of constantly striving to live a life of service, compassion, and social justice.
Exactly. And, it's not just in their beliefs. It's reflected in their architecture, too, like the Harmandir Sahib, the Golden Temple in Amritsar.
Ah, yes. A beautiful example.
You've got those 4 entrances. And those aren't just, some cool design feature.
No, they're deeply symbolic.
They actually symbolize how Sikhism is all about breaking down barriers and welcoming everyone, regardless of background or belief.
You see, in many cultures, buildings often have one main entrance. But the Harmandir Sahib, having 4 entrances, symbolizes that it's open to people of all castes, creeds, and religions. It's a powerful architectural statement about inclusivity.
It's amazing, right? It's like the building itself is an embodiment of those core values. And speaking of breaking down barriers, this document also talks about the Baha'i faith.
Yes, the Baha'i Faith, a relatively newer religion, but with a profound message.
And they also stress unity and harmony.
Yeah.
But what I found really interesting is that they believe in one God, which, if you think about it, is a concept shared by many religions.
Absolutely. The belief in one God, or a single divine force, is a common thread running through many of the world's major religions.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting. And something else that I learned from this document is that, get this, the Baha'i faith is actually behind World Religion Day.
It is. Not many people know that.
Wait, really? World Religion Day started with them. I had no idea.
Yes. Back in 1950, the Baha'i community established World Religion Day as a way to celebrate the common ground between all faiths. It was their way to actively promote interfaith dialogue, understanding, and harmony.
That's incredible. It really shows how they're putting their beliefs into action. They're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk when it comes to religious equality.
Exactly. And it speaks to a growing awareness of the importance of interfaith dialogue in today's world.
It really does. So we've got Sikhism really emphasizing this idea of equality, Baha'i promoting unity, and this underlying current of shared goals. It's amazing. But what about the bigger picture? The document also talks about this concept of a higher power.
Right. This is where things get really fascinating. Many religions, despite their many differences, they really center around this idea of a divine force, a higher power, something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
And whether we call it Ahura Mazda, God, Allah, Brahman.
The names are all different.
The names are different, yes. The specifics may differ, but that underlying concept of something greater than ourselves, that seems to be a recurring theme.
It's like everyone's trying to grasp at this really vast, really complex idea.
Yeah.
But they're using different languages and different metaphors.
Exactly. And it's not just the names that are different. It's also the ways in which these higher powers are described.
How so?
Well, you see, even the descriptive terms that are used, things like creator, ever-living, Lord, they point to this shared understanding of the attributes of this higher power.
Yeah.
And you see, this suggests a fundamental human need, a need to connect with something bigger than ourselves.
Wow. Yeah, I see that. It's so interesting. I'm really grappling with this idea of equality, though. Is it even the right way to think about this? When we're talking about religions that are so diverse, They have different histories, different practices, different interpretations.
It's a great question, and honestly, a very complex one. I mean, how can you compare religions that have evolved in such different cultural contexts,
Right.
and what might be considered equal in one context might not be considered equal in another?
Yeah, I see that. So then what's the takeaway here?
I think the key takeaway is the importance of approaching this topic and each other with respect and a willingness to understand.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not about erasing those differences, but recognizing them and appreciating the richness they bring to our world.
Exactly.
So to kind of bring it all together, we've seen how Sikhism is all about promoting equality through action.
Right.
The Baha'i Faith champions unity and even started World Religion Day. And this idea of a higher power, it seems to resonate across so many different faiths.
It's a lot to think about, but it really speaks to the universality of the human experience.
It really does. So what does all of this mean for you? I mean, how can these insights about all these different religious worldviews shape how you understand faith and tolerance? Because if so many religions are sharing this common goal of wanting to connect with something bigger than ourselves and live a moral life, then does the path we take really matter more than the destination? It's definitely something to think about. And we hope you continue exploring all these diverse beliefs with us. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you next time.